All right, we're on our third video now, elimination. Last video we talked about substitution, which is one of the ways to solve these equations, which is when you have two lines and you're trying to find the spot they intersect. You could graph them, which is the easy way, but like takes a while. You can substitute, which is the way where we say it's like y equals 2x plus 1, y equals 3x minus 5. We put that into the y. We're going to find now elimination, which works well when you have equations that are not set up that way. So stuff in standard form or similar to standard form. So again, we're going to be trying to find a POI, which is like an XY value. So let's look at an easy example first. This one right here. Okay, so we have these two equations. As I said, there's no like variable for either of them. We'll sorry about that. In this question, there's no letters isolated or anything. So what we're going to do, move that one over. We're going to eliminate. We're going to eliminate one of the variables, either x or y. The way it's going to work, we have to line everything up first. As you can see in this one, it's already done. So if we look straight up and down, the x's are lined up, the y's are lined up, and the numbers are lined up, and the equals is lined up. So this one we don't have to rearrange. We're just going to subtract and get rid of stuff. So when I look at these two variables, I can see 6x and x, or 12y and y. We're going to try and get rid of one of them. So we're going to make it so that the numbers are the same. The easy way is to just always do x, but we're going to do it a little faster. When I look at it, I realize that like if the 6y was doubled, they would be the same number. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to multiply this second equation by 2 and rewrite it. So I'm going to rewrite it so it's going to be negative 2x minus 12y equals 8. Cool. That first one is going to stay the same. It doesn't need to change. Okay? It's really important everything's lined up, because now what we're going to do is on the side, we're either going to add or subtract. I'm going to look at these two right here. Okay? Negative 12y and negative 12y. If I subtracted, that would be a double negative, and it'll be adding, which will get rid of it. So that's right. Sometimes you have to add them together. Depends on what the signs are. So I'm going to subtract, and that's what you usually do. So you do it just like you normally would do subtraction. 6x minus negative 2x. So 6x minus negative 2 is like a plus because it's double negative, gives me 8x. Negative 12y minus negative 12y gives me 0y. 24, the equals just stays the same. 24 minus 8 is equal to 16. So now when we look at it, and this is what always should happen, one of the variables is times 0, which means it's gone. So it's just 8x equals 16, which means x is equal to 2. Sweet, it's gone. That's it. That's all we had to do. And remember, we're trying to find xy, like the solution. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to substitute this final value back into one of the equations. I'm going to pick the second one because it looks easier. So we have negative x minus 6y equals 4. So that's going to be negative 2 minus 6y equals 4. Negative 2 minus 6y equals 4. Negative 6y equals 6. So y equals negative 1. So my final answer is going to be xy 2, negative 1. Oops. 2, negative 1. Because I took my x value and my y value and I put it into the answer. So let's look at an example where x and y aren't lined up. When I look at this one, I see, okay, we got y over here, but then y over here. So it's not as good. So what we're going to do, I'm going to rearrange both equations so that they're kind of in the same kind of order. So this one has the numbers on these sides, the number over here, and then the x and y over here. So let's change this one. So I'm just going to like flip this around to the other direction. So this equation would become negative 10x minus 10y equals 20. I just flipped the equation so it's the other way. Let's rewrite this one so it's in xy order as well, so it matches. So it's going to be negative 11x minus 4y equals 36. So now let's double check, is everything lined up? We got x's, we got y's, we got numbers, so we're good. So now again, we got to check, does any of this line up? It doesn't, unfortunately. I'm going to try and do the x's and the y's because I think that might be the easiest. So I'm thinking I want to aim for 20. So I'm going to have to multiply this one by 5 and this one by 2. So I'm going to rewrite them underneath to see what they are. So let's rewrite that first one. It's going to be negative 20x minus 20y equals 40. I'm going to rewrite the second one times 5 again so that the y's will line up. Negative 55x minus 20y equals, oh, got to think for a sec, 150, 180. Yeah, cool. Okay, so again, when we look at this, my y values are now matching, which is great. Oh, they look green now. So now that we have them matching, I'm going to add or subtract them. So I think if I subtracted, it would be a double negative here and here so that we could get rid of them. So let's subtract. So negative 20 minus is going to be 35x, cool, plus 0y, okay, and then minus 140, pretty sure. Yep. Calculator. Now when I rearrange it, I get 35x equals negative 140, and then I'm going to get negative 140 divided by 35, x is equal to, oh, gotta get my calculator. 40 divided by 35, 4. That was brutal. That was brutal, Mr. K. Cool. So I got my x value. I'm not done because I know I need to find xy. So I'm going to rearrange it, or I'm going to sub it into one of the equations. You don't want to sub it into one of the multiplied equations because if you screwed something up, it'll be totally wrong and not make sense. So I'm going to sub it into one of the originals. Let's do the first one. It doesn't make a difference. Negative 10x minus 10y equals 20. So I'm going to put it in there. So let's rewrite it. 4. And that's the other side, so it becomes 60. Y equals 60 over negative 10. Y equals negative 6. Cool. So I got my two numbers, my x and y values. So I'm going to write the answer as a point. Oh, computer keeps freaking out. All right, I don't think it's going to let me do it. Oh, it crashed. Okay, so basically the answer would have been xy based on the two values that I found. X was 4 and y was negative 6. And that would be the answer. And that's how we do elimination.